Alrighty guys, and welcome back. We're going to be looking at the shrine again this week, and currently I can tell you this shrine is absolutely dreadful. It's probably one of the worst shrines I've ever seen, and I know if you've been watching my recent videos about the shrine, you're going to be thinking I say that quite often. No, this is garbage. Okay, now what are we looking at? We're looking at a perk here called Flip Flop, along the side Hangman's Trick with Boiled Over and Beast of Prey. Pretty much every single perk here is the worst, one of the worst perks in Dead by Daylight. It is by far horrid RNG, but in hindsight of always teaching you guys about what the items do, we're going to keep going about that, the items, the perks. Alright, what does Flip Flop do? Pretty much, while you are in dying state, it allows you to recover, and however much of your bar is recovered when the killer picks you up, half of that is equal to already wiggled. Now, you'll know wiggling takes approximately 10 to 11 seconds, depending on how good you are with your fingers, Kappa. But if you recover the entire bar and the killer picks you up, you then only have to wiggle 5 seconds and get away. It can stack well with Boil Over, but why would you want to run that perk when you can run Unbreakable and actually get yourself up from dying state? Do you know what I mean? You can also have Tenacity to move away and recover and crawl at the same time. There are other options. It's a really bad perk. The only time I'd see Flip Flop being used would be if somebody's running Flip Flop along the side, possibly No Mither with Breakdown. If you don't know what Breakdown does, it means basically when you are on a hook and you're pulled off the hook then sabotages itself. That's kind of the combo you'd expect to be seeing through somebody running this perk here. Personally, and maybe even Tenacity, I do not rate the perk. I think it's bad. You shouldn't rely on the killer slugging you, letting you recover all that way, and then picking you up. Very rarely does that happen. It happens a lot more in the lower ranks than the higher ranks, but then that being said, you might get a killer that doesn't leave you on the ground at all. You might get a killer that leaves you on the ground the entire game. It just comes down to depending on how lucky you are in terms of what the killer's going to do. Generally, somebody like a nurse or a spirit or somebody with an instant injure can generally, I said generally too many times, slug them. But I don't know, I still don't rate that perk in the slightest. Moving on to the next perk. Now, this is called Hangman's Trick. Now, a lot of people undermine this perk. Out of this entire web shrine, I'd say it's the second best perk. What does this do? Even if you didn't have the DLC, I still wouldn't recommend buying Flip Flop. It's not worth poisoning your blood web by adding a bit of an item in there that's not of no real use. Do you know what I mean? Hangman's Trick. Now, what does this do? This means when a hook is sabotaged, it comes back in 30 seconds. When a hook is used to sacrifice a survivor, you betcha, it comes back in 30 seconds. Whenever somebody sabotages a hook, it comes back even faster. It just shows you this is an amazing perk for a killer who has an instant injure and runs agitation and has map pressure. There's only one killer in the game that has that. That is the Hillbilly. I used to run Hangman's Trick with agitation on my Billy, and I used to just hook cycle every single hook with barbecue and chili and pop, and it was really efficient. Closest hook, boom, survivor on it, rotate. Closest hook, every time, even if you killed somebody on the hook, it would be back right on the hook. You save a lot of time from not having to rotate to a different hook, and even more time from using agitation. It can be used as a combo. I'm not going to try and sell you it's saying it's the best combo. You've obviously got Thrilling Tremor, Pop Goes the Weasel, Barbecue and Chili Strong, Infectious Fright, Corrupt Intervention, Discordance, Ruin. There is a lot of better options on the table, but it's cool if you want to change your build up, yeah? Also works on a Trapper. If you sabotage his traps, they come back. So if you're worried about a full Savo squad and you want to play Trapper, chuck on Hangman's Trick and you don't have to worry about it too much. You still have to worry about it a little bit, but not as much. Alright, now Boil Over. Boil Over makes it harder to wiggle, makes it harder to steer when you're the killer. So when you pick up a survivor, he's pressing A and D and he's moving sideways and it's forcing you to move sideways. Well, this makes the effect 25% larger on the swings and the sways, yeah? So it'll go slow and then it will flick really hard at the end. So you can get stuck in doorways really, really easily, especially if the guy times it. Therefore, it can work with a perk where you've been left on the ground like Flip Flop, but at the same time, I personally don't think it's a great perk. You'd be sacrificing something of value such as Borrowed Time, Adrenaline, maybe an exhaustion perk like Dead Hard, Iron Will to lose the killer, There's a lot of really good options on the table, and Boil Over just isn't one of them. It's outmatched by some severely meta but very strong perks as well. Would I run it on anyone? If I was running a Savo build, I could see it being utilized. You got to keep in mind, if the killer is more than 10 meters away from a hook, the hook aura disappears. He can still see the hook through a visual indicator, but he can't actually see the aura of the hook. So if he's just walking along, he'll still be able to see a hook that he would have walked past otherwise, but I honestly can't recommend Boil Over in its current state. So we're going to be moving on to our next perk here. It's called Beast of Prey. Now, Beast of Prey, you got to be very careful about. I fall for this quite often, okay? Now, what makes Beast of Prey good? Once you build Bloodlust, yeah, that's cost 15 seconds of your time of being in chase without breaking a pallet. A good survivor will either break chase or drop a shit pallet and make you break it, and then cycle towards a triple window where they can recycle and then rotate to another shit pallet. That's generally what a good survivor will do. So Beast of Prey doesn't work too much. Basically, in front of a killer is a red stain. This just makes the red stain disappear and activate Beast of Prey. So as you can see, your lust for a kill is so intense that your connection to the entity is momentarily lost, making you totally unpredictable. The red stain disappears after gaining Bloodlust 1 and stays hidden until you lose Bloodlust. When you exit chase, when you break a pallet, when you hit a survivor, whether that be hitting them with a throwing axe, hitting them with anything, bar hitting them with a bear trap, because if they're obviously step in a bear trap, you never hit them. Beast of Prey can be good for players that don't know how to hide their light. If you want to know what hiding your light is, that means when you're running in a direction, you turn and look the opposite way while running in that direction. That way the big red light in front of you is facing the opposite way. That way you can do a quick flick around a corner for a hit. You can pull some really incredible plays and get a free hit and a free pallet pretty damn often, about 80% of the time, unless it's a really good survivor. He'll just take the hit and then rotate. Beast of Prey is not bad though. It really isn't. I saw a couple of people running this on Ghostface. I can agree it can be decent, but I probably wouldn't take it on Ghostface. Honestly, if you're smart with Ghostface and you use your stealth ability while in chase, your red stain disappears. So you just use, stealth, hide your light, and then you can actually make some incredible plays as long as you don't miss your next hit, obviously. So make sure he's hurt. If he's at a decent jungle gym, hide your light. If he can physically see you over the jungle gym, don't waste your ability. But if it's one of those big walls, then you can actually make a pretty damn good play if you're smart enough. Just keep in mind the red stain can be removed on Ghostface, and it can be very, very an important part of his kit. A lot of people think Ghostface is bad. He's not great, don't get me wrong, but if you hit a survivor and he's hurt and he runs to a jungle gym and he's trying to maximize a loop of the jungle gym, you turn to the left, you walk up behind him, you right click to hide your light, and you just turn around rather than trying to moonwalk backwards and then moonwalk around the corner and get a jump on him. You literally just turn around, press the key, and then fling around the corner with a maximum range hit, or you just follow right up on him. You're going to easily get dead hard or another hit. It does take a little bit of practice to do, but it's one of those really high skilled things that you don't see Ghostfaces do. And if a Ghostface does do it, you should be like, wow, he actually knows what he's doing. But it's very rare to see. So guys, in conclusion, that completes the shrine. I would not buy any of these perks off the shrine if I were you. The only one that was mediocre, in my opinion, is Beast of Prey. That can be unlocked through actually leveling the Huntress to 30, who is in the game. You could get Hangman's Trick, but like I said, it's outweighed by better options. If you have like Barbecue and Chili Agitation, you can run Hangman's with that too, but it just comes down to what do you want to do. I would rather have a more structural build for regression like Thrilling, Tremor, and Pop Goes the Weasel, but it's up to you. At the end of the day, guys, the perks aren't that great. If you want to unlock them, awesome. If you don't want to unlock them, then don't. Until next week, guys, hopefully it'll bring a better shrine. Guys, stay safe in the fog. I will see you soon. And if you guys want to check out the live stream, you can always do that over at Twitch as well, guys. Take care. Much love.